Of course, they were scared. I just got married to this guy. This house was built by us. I thought, oh my God, your country doesn't want me there. There were real alligators on set for Linda Kozłowski's 1986 movie. Guards with guns stood in the trees. For Crocodile Dundee, she slept in old uranium mine huts that had been abandoned. The movie made her well known. It also made her a bad housewife. Her co-star left his wife and 5 kids to be with her. Australia didn't like her. Every day, people told her they would kill her. But then the worst part came. She found something that changed everything after 23 years of marriage. She is now a Muslim, lives in Morocco, and gives tours to rich people. Why? You'll be shocked by the real reason. The 7th of January 1958 saw the birth of Linda Kozłowski in Fairfield, Connecticut. People in her family had left Poland after the war and come to the United States to find better things. They used to be called Helena and Stanislaw, but to fit in, they changed their names to Helen and Stanley. They didn't have much, but they worked hard to make things better for their daughter. For them, America meant being safe and having chances. It became the place where Linda sought and found fame. That was her last year at Andrew Ward High School. People knew she was good, even back then. She led the school plays, not just played parts. She knew not only her lines by heart, but also the whole book sometimes. She helped other people out when things went wrong. People in our town talked about her act as Emily. Some people said she made them cry. That doesn't happen very often at high school shows. But Linda was already unique, and everyone who saw her act knew it. That wasn't all she did. Not many people get into the Juilliard School in New York City, but she did. Less than 12% of them make it. There is a lot of attention among students. She did 2 things. She acted, and she sang opera. That wasn't like that. There were a lot of busy days and long hours, and there wasn't much sleep. She kept going, though it all. Her teachers noted how quickly she could go from giving a dramatic monologue to singing an Italian aria. People could tell she was working on something bigger, even though she was serious and focused. By 1981, she was only 23 years old and already taking the stage professionally. The show she was cast in is called How It All Began. Immigration and identity were big ideas in the play, and they hit home for her in a deep way. There were more than 200 women who tried out, but Linda got the part. Critics took note. She was called a surprise by some. Wasn't just a nice thing, said. People who hire actors will remember that review. She thought this was more than just a good show, it was the beginning of everything. The next movie was Death of a Salesman. It was 1984, and she got a small part in a big show. There were a lot of famous people in the play, which was a Broadway revival of an Arthur Miller favorite. Linda was the part of Miss Forsyth. Even though it wasn't the lead part, she stood out. Her scene stood out. She gave the character new life, which the New York Times said was great. Not only did that act make people respect her in the theater, it also made people notice her in Hollywood. Soon after, a new chance came calling. In 1985, actors were being sought for a strange Australian film. The name of it was Crocodile Dundee. It was a simple idea. For a wild date, put a tough Aussie man with a smart, interested American woman. They didn't want a big star. They were looking for someone new. Linda tried out. She had worked on TV and in the theater, but she wasn't well known. A huge number of other women also wanted the part, but something clicked when she read lines. Next to Paul Hogan, they didn't have a strong bond. It made sense. She got the part. It came with a $500,000 deal for 3 movies. That was a huge deal for someone who hasn't used a screen much. She didn't just take the money and show up though. She got ready. She learned some Aussie slang. She learned about the society. She didn't want Sue Charlton to feel fake. She wanted her to feel like a real person. Everything worked when they started shooting. Fun, love, and charm, it all worked well together. Making Crocodile Dundee was just as crazy as the movie itself. A scene of a river attack in Australia's Northern Territory was one of the most violent parts. At least on film, Linda Kozłowski, who played Sue Charlton, was almost dragged into the water by a huge crocodile. But there was more going on behind the scenes than just playing. For close-up shots, the team used a fake crocodile, but real crocodiles were swimming nearby the whole time. Someone with a gun was in a tree, ready to use it if a live crocodile came too close. Kakadu National Park is where the movie was shot. There were no hotels or trailers, so it didn't look like a movie set at all. The actors and team slept in old huts that uranium miners had left behind. It felt like a risk with every take. You can really feel the fear on the screen. Behind the scenes, things were just as tense. Paul Hogan, who starred in and helped write the movie, was having a mental breakdown. In 1958, he got married to N. Behind the scenes though, something much more emotional was going on. While they were making the movie, Hogan fell in love with his American co-star Linda Kozłowski. Things could not have gone worse. He was still married to Noellen Edwards. They had been married for a long time. It wasn't just any marriage. Hogan married Noellen in 1958, but they split up in 1981. He then married her again in 1982. For more than 30 years, they were together and had 5 children together. In 1989, they broke up for good. When Hogan asked for a divorce a second time, people paid attention. No longer was it just a breakup between 2 friends. Because it was so famous, everyone began to watch Crocodile Dundee. It was thought by many that Kozłowski was the cause of the breakup. They looked too good together on TV, even though she was almost 20 years younger than him. Both Hogan and Kozłowski said that the relationship started when his marriage was already in bad shape. It was too simple to miss the link though. Fans were shocked. Hogan was getting a divorce from his wife for a younger celebrity, even though people thought he was a great family man. The news talked about the story a lot. In Australia, the news called it the Outback Affair. In Los Angeles and Sydney, it was all over the news. There were cameras following them everywhere. They even camped outside their homes to keep track of where they stayed and when they flew. The more they tried to be quiet, the more people talked about them. Many people thought that Hogan was against the ideal Australian and they saw Kozłowski as everything they didn't like about Hollywood movies. There was more than just talking. People started sending Kozłowski mean mail and even death threats. People who didn't like her called her the home wrecker. People blamed her for ruining a happy 23-year marriage and a family that everyone loved. Not long after she became popular, a lot of people didn't like her. To stay safe, she stopped going to public events and hired bodyguards. People saw Hogan's ex-wife Noellen as the hurt mother of 5 who was taking care of the kids by herself. A lot of people felt bad for her. After Kozłowski, fury came along. It was no longer just a story, it was now dangerous. For more than a year, these two tried to hide everything. They met in secret in hotel rooms where they checked in with fake names. They got there and left at different times, and they even used secret notes to talk to each other. A few people knew what was going on. That way of life was tough. It became too much with all the lies, stress, and lies. In the end, the truth came out. At that point, Hogan's marriage was over. People would never look at him the same way again. Crocodile Dundee wasn't just a hit when it came out in May 1988. People all over the world made a lot of money from it. The movie made over $239 million around the world, even though it only cost $14 million to make. A lot of people around the world were thrilled to see Paul Hogan and Linda Kozłowski on TV again. This time, she also got a big raise. Her pay went up by 240% after the first movie. She made $1.2 million for the second movie. You might have one. But there was a catch. Still, Paul Hogan made more money. He played the lead role and helped write the plot. The pay gap was still hard to ignore. A lot of records were broken by the second movie. It made $24.9 million there, which is around $60 million now. In the US, the movie made $24.5 million in its first weekend, which was Thanksgiving weekend. That was the funniest beginning ever at that time. It did so well that it was the fifth most popular movie of 1988. Linda was well known everywhere. But even though she was very famous in Hollywood, she wasn't treated the same as everyone else. A lot of ideas came in after the movie did well. There was a problem though. They all looked the same. For Linda, she could only play lovers or pretty helpers. It's just pretty girls and a funny guy. There are no stars or meaning. She was asked to be in Basic Instinct, Ghost, and Pretty Woman. All of them would become well-known movies. More than $463 million was made from Pretty Woman. Sharon Stone is well known for her role in the movie Basic Instinct. She said no, though she didn't want to be another pretty face on TV or in movies who did nothing. The business world was shocked. Who would say no to that part? Cindy had a different plan.